I have a question for you. Are you able to take criticism? If somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I don't like this about you, or you heard someone say, I'll give you an example. My wife says I talk too loud. And I kind of got offended by that. And until a number of people at work said, wow, you really kind of talk loud sometimes. Actually, what they said was, your voice carries, which is a nice way to say you're talking too loud. And I really thought about that, and I thought, sometimes I get really excited if I'm telling a story or talking about something I really enjoy, like a cool game, and I start talking too loud. And I had to take a step back and realize, you know what? There's times to talk loud, and there's times to lower your voice. And so, can you take criticism? I have a couple of criticisms for this game. There's a lot of things I love about this game, but they just did a reprint of this game, a Kickstarter. So there's some things you need to know about this game before you back it on Kickstarter. Maybe you'll really like it and want to back it after this video. Maybe you'll have second thoughts. I don't know. This is the Be a Hero Gaming channel, where we talk about all things gaming and also how to be a hero in real life. And one of the ways that you can really be a hero is if someone criticizes you for something, take an honest look at yourself. Don't be offended by it. Don't take it personally, even though it is personal, and really think, do I do that? And if I change that, could I be a better person? Sometimes the answer will be yes. Sometimes the person's just being a jerk. And you know what? I don't think that needs to be changed about me at all. But really take an honest look at yourself and ask yourself if there's some changes that you could make to make yourself a better person. I feel like there's a couple of changes that this game could make to be way better. But it is a very unique, very cool game. I just want to talk about, I was going to do a whole series on this, maybe I still will, I don't know, about each one of the characters and how they play. I did do a little quick video about my favorite thing about this game and my least favorite thing about this game. If you want to go back and watch that video, you can. It's on the channel. But just a quick summary. My favorite thing about the game is the organization is just incredible. And go check that video out, and I'll show you kind of how easy it is. I mean, these things literally just stack up and go in a box, and you pop a lid on it, and your whole game is saved. Whoops. Knocked off the merchant. And that's just fantastic. I've never seen a game with this level of organization. I have a couple of videos on some board game organizers, not needed for this game in any way, shape, or form. Not needed. The game is so well organized. And because it's so well organized, it's really easy to set up and really easy to take down. There's a couple more things that come out of the character boxes that I haven't taken them out just because there's not really room in the camera field to put them on there. But I had this set up in like 60 seconds. And then it would probably be another 60 seconds per character to these things pop up right here, and you have some of the stuff stored underneath them. And so you just pop those up and take out the things that you're working on, or if it's a new character you haven't played before, there's some stuff under here too. You take out and set up. It takes another 60 seconds to set your character up. It's unbelievable how easy it is to set up. And that's the thing that I love about the game. The biggest thing that I don't like about the game are these rule books. I mean, this book by itself is like 50 pages, some of which is reference, so you're not going to read all that. This is a 50-page rule book on general gameplay. And then each character has a rule book that's like 30 to 45 pages just to learn the character. So, hey, if you're like, I want to be the merchant only, I don't care about these guys, whoosh, then wonderful. That makes it a little simpler for you. But if you're like me, I want to know all the characters and all what they can do. And so I had to go through each book like 3 times, and it took me, I don't know, like a week of going in and out of these books, going to work. I'd pull the PDF at work if I had a lunch break or something and read through the books and make sure I understood the character. And then even when I played, I found myself picking up the book, like, what was that rule again? Let me go back in there. Or wait, was it in this book or was it in the main book? I can't remember. So learning the rules was very challenging, which is interesting because it's not a super complex game. Once you figure it out, it's not very complex. Another one of the things I really like about the game is that it plays really fast. I think I took all the spoiler stuff out. There's only a couple of things, most of which I've removed here. So I think the buildings are not, they said you can freely look through the buildings. So that's not a spoiler to see the buildings on there that we've built so far. But another thing I like about it is the game plays really fast. Once you know what you're doing, you can play a session in probably 30 minutes. Maybe it take you 35 minutes if there's a couple of turns where you have to think about it for a second. But 30 minutes, you can play a game, and in 5 minutes, you can have it all boxed back up again. And so that's, again, a very unique thing about this game that you don't find in a lot of other games with this many components to the game. Now, a drawback, since I'll mention that, and it's funny because I thought about backing this on Kickstarter when it originally came out, and I thought, and should I do it? And I was back and forth. I couldn't decide. I don't know, a game you can't win or lose, where you're just kind of playing. Do I want to do that? And I ended up deciding not to back it. And it was in my local game store a couple months ago, and they had just got the games in on their table. And I thought, oh, there's that game that I was so intrigued by. Long story short, I bought the game and took it home. A number of weeks later, I went back to the game store, and one of the workers asked me, hey, what'd you think of that game? We've sold a lot of them. What'd you think about it? And this is my summary for what this game is. And this, you have to know about this, that I didn't know when I bought the game until I read the rules and figured out how to play. This is a solo game that you play with other people. And I know that seems weird, and you're thinking, wait, huh? What? That's what this is. It's a solo game that you play with other people. And the reason for that is because the only thing that you do together is decide on your town event at the very beginning of the phase or the turn. So, for example, someone can go here to decide, and again, these are just placeholders. They don't really do anything besides just hold your place on what action you're doing. You can go here to uncover a land piece or increase the resources of the town. You can go here if you want to hire some, the dice aren't out there, but some of these worker dice will be here. You can go here to hire some worker dice. You can place your miniature on one of the buildings and take the building action. You can go up here to this space here and go on an adventure. You can draw one of these adventure cards and see what happens. You can go over here and you can build a building, okay? That is the only thing you do together, is you can't be on the same space. And so you have to, there's a little bit of collaboration at the beginning, like, hey, I'm gonna go hire some workers. Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna go build a building, or I'm gonna go to the longhouse. That is the only collaboration you have with the other players. What I do with the crafter has nothing to do with the merchant. And what the merchant does has nothing to do with the crafter. The game on the back of the box kind of talks about two things you're trying to do. You're building out your town, and you're building your profession of the whatever character you've chosen. The crafter, the merchant, the explorer, or the farmer. And that's it. And so I was a little bit weirded out when I was playing my crafter and I was looking across the table like, wait, what are you doing over there? Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing. What you're doing doesn't have any weight on what I do. And the other thing that I thought was really weird that kind of bothered me about the game was, again, you're doing two things. You're building the town and you're building up your profession. What you do in the town has very little effect on your profession. And so the first few times we played, we completely ignored the town. We just said, hey, I'm going to go hire some workers and go on an adventure. And the adventure cards have, there's kind of a story that plays along. As you turn the weather cards over at the beginning of each phase, sometimes you might draw an event card. Sorry, you can't see it because of the glare there, but you have these event cards here that you might draw that kind of lead you through a little story about you coming to this valley and settling, and some of the creatures you find along the way and what they think about you showing up. They might like it, they might not like it. But that doesn't really have anything to do with this. And so I felt like the game felt a little bit disconnected with the two main things that you're trying to do. Now, with that said, there's a little bit that this does that affects you. Like, for example, you might get some more worker dice because of some event cards or adventure cards you draw. You might get some more of these dice available to you. But if you look on the buildings, almost all of the building effects will affect your town resources. And the town resources are used to build more buildings. And so it's almost like there's two separate games. There's more than two separate games. There's 5 separate games because each character plays completely different. And what I'm trying to do with my character to build them up, it's like a little mini game. It's like this is a game, and this is a game, and this is a game. And you have all these separate games that are kind of disconnected. And that's one thing I kind of struggle with the game a little bit is I'm building this town, but why? Because when I build buildings, that just gives me more resources to build more buildings. But it doesn't really do anything with these. It might give me some more workers, and the workers will help me to do additional actions, sure. But that's it. And again, we haven't played through the whole game. Just full disclosure, we have not played through the whole game. Maybe down the road, we've opened one secret envelope. I think there's 3 others. Maybe down the road, there will be some additional mechanics that will, the weight will kind of come together. I don't know. Maybe. But my initial impression is it almost seems like this is 5 different games. One little mini game you play together for just a second to maybe build some buildings or help the town resources, and then you're on your own. I can't look across the table and say, hey, if you do this, then I can do this, and that will help these 3 things. No, that's not what happens. What I do has no effect on the other players. It only has an effect on my character. So it kind of seems like these characters are their own mini game trying to, and it is challenging. I will say, I was worried about being kind of easy since there's no winning or losing, but it is challenging. And so that does keep you engaged because it's challenging to try to figure out how is the crafter going to make all this stuff and gain all these raw materials and refine them to make the things to fulfill the customer's orders? Or how is the merchant going to manipulate the market to make things more valuable or less valuable so I can buy low and sell high? And so yeah, it is challenging to figure out the puzzle of each game or each character, but that is what this game is. Now, I will say, I very much enjoy the theme of this game. I've seen so far, again, we've played a little bit. I haven't seen any death or destruction or anything like that. And that's a pleasant surprise because I think there's an overabundance of these grim, dark games out there that you play and you feel really happy afterwards. I don't know, maybe people really enjoy them, but and I've done some reviews on some of those too. But the cool thing about this game is I love the theme. It seems like people are trying to get along and work together, even though there really is no working together. That's just the theme of the game. And it's mainly when you draw these event cards or these adventure cards. The thing that's cool about these is as you resolve those, there's going to be another event card added based off of what you do, or an adventure card based off of a choice you make on the adventure card. Sometimes you're given choices. There'll be another card added where later on your choice will come back to you'll realize, oh wait, that was because of a card I got a couple of games ago. This card came up. So that aspect is very cool. That you're kind of being slowly led through the story of you settling the valley, but it's really hard to stay connected to that because you're focused on growing your profession. It's almost like you draw the event cards and the adventure cards during the town phase. You think, oh, that's kind of fun. Oh, cool, that happened. And then you put them away like, okay, now how am I going to get my guy better here? But it doesn't really have to do with the story or the town. It's like that's separate. So I wish that there was a way that everything was tied together more, that what I did affected the merchant and what the merchant did affected me. So we were collaborating more like, hey, if I fulfill this customer order, then your resources are going to become more valuable. The reason why you can't do that is because you don't always play with all the characters. So you might play with 1 or all 4. And now with that said, if you're playing this game solo, it will probably be impossible to play with all 4 characters. You probably could. But it is very difficult to manage all of that. I played with 2 and felt like my head was going to explode because there's just so much to focus on one character trying to get the merchant better. And then I would come back over here like, wait, what's the crafter trying to do? Completely different. Has nothing to do with the merchant. So what am I going to do with the crafter now? And I would go through that. It's a lot better. Again, the sessions are short, half hour. It'd be a lot better to play one character, 1, 2, 3 sessions, whatever you felt was adequate. And then let's try different characters. Cycle them out, put a new one in. And that is another bonus of this game. It's very easy to switch characters in between sessions. Very easy. You put the pieces back in, pop the top on, set it aside, grab the new one, pop the top off, take a couple pieces out, and you're ready to go. So it's very easy to set up and very easy to transition. And I guess part of that reason is because the characters are so disconnected. It doesn't matter what this one does, and then I can just play this one. It's completely separate. And so I feel like something that you need to know about backing this game is the theme is great. The theme, and if I would play this game and continue to play it, it would be for the theme and not so much the mechanics. It would be to get a break from Warhammer or Dungeons and Dragons or Tainted Grail or something like that, or kind of this more destruction, peril type game, and play something like this where it's like, hey, we're just coming to this valley and we're trying to grow the town and get our professions better. There's just not a lot of competition in this game. And so it might be a nice, peaceful game to sit down and go through to enjoy the theme of the game. But the thing that you have to understand about this game is, to me, it seems like a solo game that you play with other players, if other people play. Because in other cooperative games, you're collaborating, trying to figure out how you can pool your resources, or your move will affect my move, or if I go first, what effect will that have on the enemy's turn or your turn? This is not that game. This game, you again agree upon which area you're going to go to in town, and it will have some effect mainly on the town. Again, you might get a couple extra workers, which you can use for additional abilities here. But after that, you kind of just zoom into your own world here, and then this is what you do. And what my buddy does or my friend does, I don't care about, because you're growing your own profession over there, and it has nothing to do with my profession. So I don't know if any of you played this game and you have different thoughts on that. I would love to hear your thoughts. You post them in the comments, see what you think about the game. Do I like the game overall? Yeah, I like the game. It's very unique. There isn't a game like this that I have seen with this level of beautiful artwork, wonderful theme, ease of play, so easy to get it out and play it and put it away, switch characters, very easy. But maybe my expectations weren't met, and maybe that's where the problem is that I thought it was going to be this giant collaboration of us all getting together and figuring out, okay, how are we going to work this town and help each other out in our professions, and that's not really the case. So if that sounds like something for you, after I'd explained this to the lady at the game store, she said, so it's basically like a co-op game for introverts. And I said, yeah, you can kind of think of it like that, because you're not really doing a lot of talking. You're just, you are like, hey, I just made this, look at me. And, someone else said, oh, look at the value of my hammers now. They're great. And, you're just kind of showing each other maybe what you're doing, but it doesn't really have any effect on the other players. So again, if that sounds like something, hey, you know what? I don't care about that. And again, maybe that might be good to have those right expectations going into it, that I'm going to buy this game and back it for the reprint, and it's going to be a wonderful game with great artwork and great theme. But I just plan on focusing on my one character and making them as great as I can, and getting the town built out, again, which just helps me get resources to build more of the town out. But it's not going to have that much effect on my character. Maybe the event and adventure cards might a little bit. But that's something you have to understand about this game is it's a great game, but there's just a little disconnection between the different elements. I wish they were more connected together so you kind of felt like you were all collaborating together. But let me know what your thoughts are. Again, some of you might criticize my video and say, hey, I think you're totally off base. This is the coolest game I've ever played. And if you think that, awesome, that's wonderful. Get the game and play with your friends and have a good time. All games are not for everybody. I just want you to be aware of what this game is. So if you think about backing it, you know what you're getting yourself into. But you guys take care out there. Be heroes, and thank you so much for watching.